So friends, welcome back to NRS Samay weekend show. And every week we try to bring in incredible people who really excel in whatever work they do and send some positive message to the society. So this week is no exception. We have Stanley Ravi right now live from Bangalore. So for any of the book lovers out there, and I'm sure there will be a very good reason to go to the MG Road, which they call MG Road, Brigade Road area. So you might end up finding books for you to read, and he has come up with an incredible idea which he has emulated popularly, which is very popular out in the United States. So we have Stanley Ravi right now. So Stanley Ravi, thank you very much for being with us today, and we wanted our listeners to know the concept of Little Free Library. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Srikant, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. So, Ravi, yeah, go ahead, sir.
You can tell me. Do you want me to be louder?
Yeah, a little loud would help, Ravi.
I would.
Yeah.
So the Little Free Library is a library concept started in the U.S. And started by two people. Their names are Ted Ball and Rick Brooks. All right, Ted Ball and Rick Brooks, and they first met up in 2009 somewhere. And so you can see more about them at the Little Free Library, littlefreelibrary.org. So when I first saw the Little Free Library, I saw the Little Free Library from Google. In one of Google's Hangouts. Google had brought a new application, and then this Little Free Library was there up front. And I said, wow, this is fantastic. And I wrote to them, and in a few days, in about a week, they sent me a signboard. Now that signboard is got a huge story behind it. The signboard is from the Amish community. They are removing their barns and then chopping off blocks of these barns to make signboards for the Little Free Library. And the Little Free Library is such a wonderful concept. It's just take a wooden box, put a sign that says Little Free Library, put a book in it, and just forget about it.
Oh, awesome!
And
so
then,
it's like
tell me.
It's like you have a rack pretty much put out in the corner, and you have some few books, and then you put a sign. Is it?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And the sign says the Little Free Library.
Okay.
And the moment you put this book up, you go and I was wondering after I did put up I got a bookshelf from somebody, a small bookshelf. It's basically like a cupboard. It's like a side table. What you have like a bedside cupboard.
Right.
So I got this bedside cupboard and then put in the books, and then I was just thinking what to do about it, and I walked up to Times of India, which is close by. And I'm actually, Srikant, I would also like to tell you up front, I got your email, and your email has a huge number of Magsaysay Award winners who you've interviewed. I'm quite humbled, and I'm not in that league. I'm just a very ordinary person.
Incredible things doesn't need any word. It's like simple initiatives that the whole idea behind. And fortunately, I'm really happy that you accepted in a snap saying that I would be on air today. But these small things which spread a real positive message is what we are looking for. And definitely you, as soon as I read about you, I got that positive vibes and incredible work, Ravi, for sure.
Okay, Sri. And on the other hand, but you should also go through the FAQ section of. I'm right now in front of the FAQ section of the Little Free Library, and then it says the questions are simple, very simple, ordinary human questions that all of us ask. Won't people steal the books?
Okay.
Because this is out there in public, and then anybody can put their hand in and take out. And what actually happened for us was the Times of India, the person at Times of India, I have to mention her name. Her name is Garima Prashar. You will find, the moment you find Little Free, search for Little Free Library, you Google Little Free Library and you will get her name up.
Okay.
Times of India, Bangalore. And
Times of India, Bangalore.
She jumped at the idea. She jumped and screamed and sent for her photographer that very instant.
Oh.
Okay, so that was another huge mileage for her. That was actually something that really kicked the Little Free Library off in Bangalore and in India.
Oh, okay. So I'm seeing her on the forums as well. On the wherever Times of India has covered this idea of borrow the book you want for free. I'm seeing her name here, and definitely she seems excited with this very much. I can feel the vibes. So when did this initiative start in Bangalore, Ravi?
We started this about. Well, you have to go back to the Times of India article and get me the exact date. And that's the date we started it. I'll have to Google it and then get back to you.
Sure, no worries.
That question up. Yeah. There are more interesting things about the Little Free Library. They sent us five more kits, which is 5 more signboards.
Okay.
And 5 more numbers. And I've been contemplating about moving these things forward because the Little Free Library in Bangalore turned out to become too huge, too voluminous in a very short time.
Okay.
It stopped becoming little anymore. We were getting books. We were getting people were bringing in their theses from IIMs. People who've done a lot of work on their personal, theses, their dissertations. I've got all kinds of books. Very little children's books keep coming in.
Okay.
But a lot of adult, I wouldn't say adult content, I wouldn't say adult is the wrong word, but a lot of academic work started coming into the library.
Oh, okay. So let me understand this. So you have put in a kind of side table pretty much in the intersection of Brigade Road and MG Road, which had a few books, and then a signboard which says Little Free Library. And then curious people would visit that particular location, maybe get excited or maybe think of contributing. They bring in their books, whatever possible they have, and then just put it in that bookshelf, right?
Yes, that's what they do. So we were getting more inputs than outputs.
Okay.
Very few people would borrow books, but more people would actually come in, and they found the Little Free Library as a solace for their books.
Okay.
Books are very, very treasured, very personal. They are some things that have contributed immensely to our lives. And then it's painful to see them collecting dust at home.
Okay.
It's painful to see you throwing the books away. So people found the Little Free Library as a huge solace actually for their books, for something that's so close to their heart.
Okay.
So the best source for me to say anything or to give or contribute anything in this entire business is simply to go back to the FAQ section of the Little Free Library about people stealing books, and the answer says you can't steal a free book.
Oh, okay. Okay. That sounds interesting.
And if you have a good steward, and lots of active users, eventually somebody who tries to, the inverted commas, steal books will realize that it's not a good thing to do. If they do take a book, they might even read them. A message sticker or a stamp in the book will help prevent used bookstores from buying them. And incidentally, the Little Free Library in Bangalore is situated opposite a used bookstore.
Okay.
And we actually get contributions from them.
Oh, wow. So do these guys contribute to this LFL?
They do. Once in a while pass in some books. They drop in some books.
Very nice.
We've also had to counter monsoons. So the Little Free Library is not really waterproof as of now. But we are having another extension of a Little Free Library. We have a lot of these telephone booths. I don't know. I'm talking to an NRI community, so they must be familiar with the STD-ISD booths.
Right.
So these booths are becoming functional. Functional for every time I see a telephone booth, I have half the mind to go and ask the guy, can you sell or contribute your telephone booth?
Okay.
So that's about it, Srikanth. And
right. So now when I hear about this whole concept of little free library, the first question that comes to my mind is: I'm sure that you don't stay very very much at Brigade Road or MG Road, right? It's just that you
No, I don't.
You don't, and then it's all about you buying a kind of side table and putting it in one corner and placing some books there for people to pick books and few people to bring in their books which they can put in there, right?
Yes.
Now, the fundamental question is, people bring in their books and then they put in there and somebody else would take it, right? How does this entire cycle work? Let's imagine I saw Little Free Library when I'm walking down the street in MG Road,
okay,
and then I brought in few books and then I put my books there. Now, what happens to my books?
Let's go to a typical cycle. So you put in a book, and I flip through this thing. I see this Little Free Library, and it says, gift it forward, give a book, and take a book.
Okay.
So incidentally, this book is the shelf was given to me. Was given to me. I didn't buy this shelf. Was given to me by a person called Arif Mistry, who runs a small shop there.
Uh-huh.
So he's the real custodian of this Little Free Library.
Oh, okay.
So he takes the trouble of keeping the shelf inside and outside every day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering because when you have this government sources who wouldn't allow anything on that street, which is like you can't put a shelf right on the street, right? So somebody should be custodian of this
it's not really
shelf.
Go ahead.
So so you're saying that there's one person who's making sure that he puts in and out the shell every day, right?
Yes.
Okay.
On one hand. The other hand is that when the books became, when this whole thing became too bulky and became cumbersome, this Little Free Library stays more indoors than outdoors these days.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the need for resizing and the need for relocating and the need to expand seems a little urgent now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you do monitor this on a daily basis. What's the nature of work you do? Where do you work? And I'm sure that this should be a parallel, some kind of social activity that you're doing, right? What do you work? Where do you work, Ravi?
Okay, I run an NGO.
Uh-huh.
I basically run an NGO based on the Transition Town network from Totnes in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
You must be having a lot of Transition Town movements in the US too.
Okay. Yes.
The Transition Town network is a huge movement from the US.
What do you guys do in this Transition Town network? I'm really not sure of how this works.
Okay, the Transition Town network speaks about two subjects which go hand in hand, and one is a subject called peak oil, PEAK, peak oil, and the other subject is global warming. So peak oil and global warming are two concerns in the Western world, are two immediate concerns in the Western world.
Right.
And then there is something else called limits to growth and the energy descent action plan.
Mm-hmm.
There is something else that I would actually like to address right now, Srikanth, is that suddenly and fortunately in the world we are shifting from this paradigm of more.
Right.
Yeah, we spent the last half a century or close to a century maybe chasing this paradigm more, right, from more marks to more money to more salary to more travel to more miles to more gifts to more bedrooms to, And now we are not, I won't say slowly, we are quickly shifting away from that paradigm.
Okay.
We are shifting to a paradigm called give.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, I run an NGO, and our NGO is based on this Transition Town movement, and I learned my first lesson of humility from there to even rechange or rename the NGO from Asia Transition to something very local, and we've had to call it in Kannada, taken a local name in Kannada called Premadinda Namma Uru.
Uh-huh.
If I should translate into Telugu or first translate to Hindi, and then it says Pyar se hamare gaon.
Uh-huh.
And then in Telugu it would be Premato Mana Uru.
Mm-hmm.
And in Tamil it would be Anbudan Namma Uru, or something like that, yeah.
So it's all making each one feel that it's their town, Namma Bengaluru kind of campaign, right?
Yeah, no, not Bangalore. Bangalore also would be a little too arrogant.
Oh, okay.
It would be my block.
My block. Okay. Okay, pretty minute level. Okay.
Oh yes, and it's supposed to be inside my block.
Okay.
Incidentally, this thing has also got this kind of a nature, a viral nature to outgrow itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I should lead it is for it to actually outgrow, and for me to get inside that movement and probably take on a very moderate role, not mediocre but moderate, and not a leadership kind of a role, but hand over the leadership quickly to other people.
Yeah. Okay. So ideally, you're running an NGO, which is Transition Town Network, and fortunately, it's the fortune of Bangalore people to see this unique idea all by themselves. So you came up with this idea of little free library. You somehow got hold of some good friend out there in the MG Road or Brigade Road intersection, and then you put in this shelf, and you started off this transaction of these books, right?
That is correct. And the books have been pouring, and some of them are fantastic academic works. Some of them are seminars that have come through. People have got their seminar volumes put together. They've done their binding, and then they've left these. They don't have the heart to throw them away, but then they firmly believe that this material is useful material, and it ought to be shared with people.
Okay. And also, I think this is a super useful program to all these young people who are coming up with great ideas. Some people writing novels, some people writing some amazing stuff out there. They can also put in their book right there, right?
Yes, they can. Specifically in the world of on-demand publishing, there is something called on-demand publishing where people can. Today's technology enables us to print just one book. Right. Yeah, so things like that. Those people can actually take advantage of the Little Free Library.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now when I heard of this concept, Little Free Library, I started Googling, and then I realized that this is some kind of a social, let's call it a movement, because it has spread across, right? So we call it a movement, a positive movement. So, well, then what's the first thing you did? You wrote an email to Scott and a few of these founders, and what did those guys revert back to you? What kind of material or startup kit did you get from these folks?
Okay, the startup kit that you get from them is an envelope, which contains the signboard. It's a small signboard. It's about 12 inches into 3 inches height into 1 inch, about half an inch thick. And the signboard says the Little Free Library, and it says GIFT team. GIFT, give it forward team.
Oh, okay.
So it's, and then they say before that, before you give this whole thing forward, they ask you to. There's one thing that says join us on their website, and when you click on the join us, you fill in your name, your address, and your phone number, and there is this $50 for registration, and the people at the Little Free Library did not take the money from us.
Ah.
Yeah, and they sent it to us for free. They sent us all the 6 signs for free.
Awesome.
Yes.
So that's all. They send you these signboards, and then
the signboard, and then a set of instructions of how to set up how ideally would a Little Free Library work to keep it waterproof as much as possible, and to put it up in a place which is busy, where people come and go, to put it in a highly visible place. And something as small as a bird cage would do.
Oh, got it. And Ravi, we'd be really delighted if you could send few pictures, the pictures of how this all looks like, or if you have already, I'm sure you should have had this already on some of these forums, and kindly revert back to my email with all those pictures. We would post it on NRI Samay Facebook page and also on our website. That will be one good way to let people in Bangalore know that there's such and such kind of initiative that's going on.
Yeah, but it's not just restricted to Bangalore. I'm holding on to the 5 signs that were sent to me from the US, because I wanted to set up one in Visakhapatnam. I have some people there. I have some friends there. So I wanted to set up one in Visakhapatnam, and one to somebody maybe up north in Delhi, or somewhere in Manipur, and one right down south in Kerala or in Ooty and things like that. So I'm looking at you actually giving them away to faraway places, so that the initiative grows.
Oh, okay. So right now, where all is it being spread? You said that it's getting spread across, right? So other than Bangalore,
not yet. I've only done Bangalore right now. I've only done one place in Bangalore. And I'm holding on to these 5 signs because I need to carry them across and move to one of the places. And I frequent Mysore, so probably after this interview, I'm going to make a public commitment that I will have this signboard set up before the 15th of January.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
You'll see one more in Mysore before the 15th of January.
Very good, Ravi. And also, when we hear about such nice initiatives, right? There's a lot of any good initiative, people would flock in, they would show interest, they would get excited. But keeping up this momentum is very tough, right? So, what kind of people do you come across, Ravi? Can you share some experiences of these folks who get super excited? I see on the forum also, when I see the Times of India article and borrow the book you want. There are people who are very excited, right? So, share some experiences of these people.
Initially. Yep. And I think another great example I would like to really share about is, or somebody that needs to be mentioned in a forum like this, would be to mention a group of people called the Ugly Indian. That's another group of people who are doing some very interesting work in Bangalore, extremely interesting work. It's a group of people who just get up who communicate on email, who join a mailing list, and they get an email on Thursday, which says Saturday we are having what is known as a spot fix. And this group of people meets at SPOTFIX.
Okay, spot fix. Okay.
So these people meet up on Saturday morning at 7:00. And spick and span a place between 7 and 9.
Okay.
They pull in their own money and they bring in the materials and do a great job of cleaning the whole place. So you should Google, the guys in US must Google the Ugly Indian. I would actually scream out the Ugly Indian a couple of times.
Ugly Indian. Okay, is there a Facebook page as well?
They have a Facebook page as well.
Okay. The Ugly Indian.
These are movements these are movements where you see this huge shift from the paradigm of more to the paradigm of give and the paradigm of contribute.
Awesome.
It means something to contribute. So
wow. So they just pick up a place and then go there and clean it up, is it? All the trash, or what kind of cleaning up are we talking about?
The trash, the posters. India is famous for posters. For the
right.
posters, and for the debris that's lying around, for the lack of maintenance, for the unpainted wall, for the stench that's coming out of people, doing all their private business out there, and the moment the ugly Indians go and they wear gloves and they wear a mask and they begin to clean up the place and paint up the walls. And there are success stories where walls have not been defaced for more than an entire year, and it still looks beautiful.
Okay.
So, yep.
And these are random folks on just an email list, like Google or Yahoo email list, and
exactly.
Then they come together and then.
Worse, I would actually say not even random, anonymous.
Anonymous. Wow, that's a good word.
And they make it a point. Yeah, they make it a point to stay anonymous. And that's the instruction. That's a brief that they give you up front as soon as you go in. They say, we are an anonymous group, and we would like it to be that way.
Oh, okay. And they don't have interaction between themselves as well?
I'm not too sure. I've been to 2 spot fixes so far, but they're a larger group. They're a larger, more powerful group. They're a larger, more powerful, and more. They have a caption says, "Baat chup, kaam chalu."
Oh, okay. I get it. Okay. Interesting, folks.
So, yeah.
It's like this is a generation. It's a generation where these young people come up with amazing ideas, and not only just come up with ideas. It doesn't really end up there, right? Coming up with an idea is one part of it. Executing it, and then taking the first step. Forget about execution. Many a times, because a lot of these initiatives start off well, and I'm saying that they come up with this initiative. They take the first step. That is the paradigm shift in the earlier generation and this generation. Earlier generation, though they had ideas, they just used to churn it, think whether this is good, bad, and ugly, or whatever. They balance it out in many different fronts. And eventually, when they take the first step, it would have been a big time issue, right? So these folks right now, they come up with initiatives, they jump in, take the first step, and eventually try to sustain it.
They dive in. They actually dive in.
The dive in, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The dive in.
Yeah, they dive in and then become unstoppable, and then they also succeed very fast. They succeed very fast and efficiently. Very efficiently also.
That's good. And when you went to the spot fixes, what places did you go? This seems an interesting concept. Can you elaborate a little bit more on this?
One of the spot fixes is Kamraj Road. On Commercial Street and Dickinson Cross.
Okay.
When you go to the Facebook page of the Ugly Indian, you'll see a before and after all the pages.
Oh, okay.
Some of the software companies have also got into spot fixes themselves in their own localities, in and around their localities, not really in their localities, but around their localities. People that don't even matter, people who've never imagined, like a cow shed or a cow shed at the back, in the backyard of Dell. So those kind of people who have looked over the wall and said, those guys are a class apart, and we will never have any interaction with them. So these guys come around the compound wall, come around the fence, and clean up this place. The place that I cleaned was actually an army compound wall. And it was in a very dilapidated state, and so we went and had this place painted, cleaned up the pavement, cut the fence, cut the hedge. Incidentally, the Ugly Indians come with almost all the equipment ready. You have to shell out a small amount of money as you go in for a spot fix, and you contribute. It's not shell out, actually. It's called self-funded.
Oh, okay.
Srikanth, I'm sure you've heard of crowdfunding.
crowdfunding.
Yep.
There are some forums here as well, like chipin.com, wherein people just go ahead and then contribute whatever they have and then eventually pull up some fund. Is that what you were talking about here?
Something like that. Something
Similar.
very similar to that. We haven't had a crowdfunding platform successfully in India yet.
Right.
But it's kind of happening. It's kind of moving in now. We have the first platform called wishful.in.
Wishful.
Yeah, wishful.in.
But
crowdfunding is yet to take off. There is another big thing that's happened in India which is called the unreasonable at sea.
The unreasonable
at sea.
Oh, okay. The unreasonable at sea.
I don't know. There's no the, but it's just unreasonable at sea.
Oh, okay. I'm not getting the last one. Unreasonable
at
SEA. Oh, at sea. Oh, I get it. Okay, unreasonable at sea. Okay.
Yeah. Now that's another movement which is done again in the US. But it's come down to India for us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There is somebody who's working on carbon nanotubes at very low cost of carbon nanotubes, and these guys were looking for funding, and then they've been funded by.
Oh, okay.
By Unreasonable at Sea. Unreasonable at Sea is an event where 10 innovators from the world are put in with 14 very successful entrepreneurs, 600 college students, visiting 14 countries to meet the heads of the states and to meet entrepreneurs and to have a good time and to have a mentoring time with each other across a month.
Ah, okay.
So, I mean, I'm bouncing all over the place from a little free library, but
no, these are great ideas. It's just a good conversation. I'm sure anybody who's listening to our conversation, they would really be having fun, learning all these new innovative things. And people who visit nrsamay.com to listen whatever is going on, definitely know that these are the kind of conversation that they'll be listening to. This is super good. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, yes. Bangalore is actually very happening. India is actually happening. India is happening in many, many, many ways. And I think we are going places soon. It's not just India. I think the whole world is moving towards let's do lots.
Right.
Let's do lots for everybody else. Yeah, let's do lots for everybody else. Yeah. Enough of doing stuff for me.
Right. And it is good for their health. It's good for their mindset.
Oh,
because
yes.
when you talk about spot fix, I see these folks, and I'm right now on this Facebook page. These folks bending their backs, doing some work, which is really useful for the community. So this makes absolute sense.
Oh, it almost leaves you with a sense of spirituality by the time you come out. Because
awesome.
you're just left with thanking everybody. You're left in a space of gratitude. You're overwhelmed with gratitude. You're just saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve this country. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to make this place beautiful for me and for my children and for everybody else.
Oh, wow. Right. And from these one generation of elders who are literally almost, I think we cannot blame the entire, we cannot generically blame the entire community, but one generation of elders saying that do your work, don't get distracted, don't go out in the open in the society and then throw out yourselves in the open.
What will you do? Yeah, what will you do? I mean, there are people to do that kind of work. It's not your business.
Right.
We've actually heard stuff like this. Some of us have actually heard words like this. Don't get into this. Just mind your work, mind your business, and get in. Okay. Sri, there's one more very, 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 very big important person name that this country that you guys should see. And this is you got to YouTube this guy, the man who wore a sanitary napkin.
Oh yeah, Definitely. I think one of our team member, Srihari, he has opened up a conversation with him. If I'm really true to what I heard on our forum.
Yes.
So yeah, amazing guy. Yeah, I saw his video.
Worth it. Yeah, you have seen his video, right? So
Yeah.
Arunachalem is
Yes.
one guy, and
right. And then
well,
rural community is indebted to his service. The kind of incredible concept that he's come up with. Yeah.
Yeah, very true, and amazing and fantastic work.
Right.
So Arunachalam Muruganandan, that's his name.
Oh, Muruganandan, yeah. I'm sure a lot of these folks should definitely YouTube for this person, Arunachalam, for sure.
Yes. The institute I'd like to correct is the unreasonableinstitute.org.
Unreasonableinstitute.org. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that's where they are, and if you see, go back to unreasonable. Let's see then. So I would like to let people know that you guys are also contributing immensely, and we are seeing so much of change. Guys are inventing unibikes and gyroscopic vehicles, and
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to bringing one light motor car to India.
And Ravi, I was curious. You do because you've told me a ton of very very positive, motivating Indians out there. So do you blog somewhere? You post this information somewhere?
I Facebook a little against in the name of my NGO.
Okay.
I Facebook a little.
Okay.
And well, there is a blog that I've been writing about the origin of money, which is I'm not too sure if I'm qualified to speak about it. That money. Well, we're also working ourselves as an NGO out from the NGO domain and calling ourselves a wealth creation organization.
Okay. So what's the idea behind this?
As opposed to elevation of poverty.
Oh, okay.
We are equating poverty with darkness and wealth with light.
Oh, okay. So poverty with darkness and wealth with light.
Yes, and it is very expensive, cumbersome, laborious, and painful to transport darkness.
Right.
And ineffective, and even ineffective to transport darkness. The light will leak in somewhere, somehow.
Right.
You need something as expensive as a camera to transport darkness. But to transport light, you may just need two stones.
Right.
In pitch darkness, and the spark is very beautiful, very exciting, very amazing, whereas darkness is actually frightening.
Right.
For a very small child, sometimes when children are asked to look, I think we were talking to people, when children are asked to look through a pipe or through a hole, then it reminds them of a tunnel, and then it can bring in very not very pleasant pictures. But a spark is always very beautiful.
Absolutely.
So therefore we are quite surprised to see that how come this country spent so much of time and money elevating poverty when all that we needed to do was create wealth.
Right.
And wealth isn't money, but money is actually a byproduct of wealth.
Right.
So we began to distinguish wealth as wealth is orderliness, wealth is cleanliness, wealth is shining, wealth is quiet, wealth is efficient, wealth is cheerful, wealth is smiling, wealth smells nice, wealth is not repulsive, and like that a whole set of distinctions about wealth itself. Okay. So that's something that I would blog about, the origin of wealth, and that's about it. That's all I've got to say.
Right. And then coming a little bit back to our LFL.
Sure.
Now this era of libraries is almost dying, right? People with all these iPads and new gizmos, gadgets coming up. still there's sense of interest, and there are people who are pouring in the LFL side. Ravi, what do you think there?
Well, the LFL site itself has caught enough. I think to answer you appropriately, you'll have to check how many books J.K. Rowling is selling.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Very much, yeah. She made this mainstream, right? Even bigger than any of this communication media out there. She's like...
Yeah. And then there was somebody else who had written a very nice article about it holds a lot of memory, and it has a lot of stories, and it's very interactive. It's very it's portable. It does not require power. It can be carried anywhere. It can be kept under the pillow. It can be passed down for generations. It will not get outdated, and it's called a book.
Exactly. Well said. Very well said.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and also when you talk about these initiatives, it all comes up with some challenges, right? So what kind of challenges? Let's imagine you started this initiative 2 years back. In these 2 years, to sustain this model and also to sustain the LFL, and promotion, of course, is a big thing, which if it is a social work, people will be less worried about promotion, because when the concept of free, when the concept of social comes into play, it automatically spreads by word of mouth, unless it is not purely business. So what kind of challenges were you facing when you started off this initiative, Ravi?
Even right now, we have a big challenge, which is about transporting this 20 kgs of load inside and outside every day.
Okay.
And then sometimes when the shop owner is there, he does it. Sometimes when he's not there, it doesn't even come outside. There is an assistant, and she is alone, and so she's not too cute about moving this library into the public domain. One.
Right.
The second one is we also noticed that the library was overflowing its capacity.
Uh-huh.
So that's another challenge. The third challenge is how do we start having more of these libraries, and who else will stand by as a custodian?
Uh-huh.
We need people to come in and say, I will also be a custodian. And I would like to again utilize something from the Transition Town movement, which is that when I act as an individual, what I do would be too little.
Mm-hmm.
If the government does something, it would be too late. But if we act as a group, then it would be just enough and just in time.
Oh, this is brain tickling, amazing. Few little words, and also there's a lot of truth in this, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
You guys must again. I mean, I've given you I've been doing a lot of social talking for the inputs that I've received. The transition movement being one, the Unreasonable Institute being another, the Ugly Indian being the third, and then the fourth guy would be, of course, the man who wore a sanitary napkin.
Yes, and that's all these four rights. I've noted it down: the Ugly Indian and Unreasonable HC, and also a few of them other than what you mentioned, Wishful.in and other things that I've noted it down. So I'll have to sit down and then see each one of these sites to make sure that I get the full concept right. And amazing folks. I just stepped into this Ugly Indian Facebook page, and then seems very interesting concept.
Yeah, if you scroll down and see their videos, they are even more crazy.
Yes. I'm seeing all of them right now. And your December 15th work out there, I think near that place. Kamraj Road. Yes, I saw that happened on December 15th or something, if I'm right. Yeah, I could get a sense of what these folks are doing. Incredible, not relying on government, not relying on anything, just bunch of anonymous people getting together and actions, It's all about actions. It's just not about talking, discussing, thinking. It's just get bang right into work and then deliver it. And with all this work, there are a lot of challenges that come. Who are you guys? Why do you do it? What is this library all about? And government sources interfering and then asking you, why the hell are you guys interested? These guys take a paintbrush and then they say that I'm painting this wall. But it's not so easy, right? There will be a lot of challenges and people asking, and also government sources interfering. So, can you give us a sense of how it works?
No, the government. This is again about. This is something that I faced personally. Somebody from the government, one of the electricity board guys came in and he looked at us from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And then he noticed that we are actually contributing, and we're contributing immensely, and at a speed and pace that is unimaginable to them.
Right.
And he just went away.
Oh.
He just came, shook hands with me, and went away.
Yeah, unstoppable, as I mentioned,
That's the word. I think that's more appropriate word, unstoppable.
Unstoppable, yeah, very much true. Also, when you mentioned that this electrician who came in and he was fascinated by the work and the pace at which you guys are doing. And questions, let's talk about LFL itself. What kind of questions you get? Somebody coming there, standing there, seeing the signboard. What do they ask you?
Very few questions. A lot of appreciation up front.
Right.
People say, this is a great idea. So what kind of books can I bring in? The first question is, what kind of books can I bring in? And then we say, you can bring in anything, any kind of books. Anything as long as, whatever, anything that you think is not offensive, anything that you think is okay for your children, anything that you think is okay for your dad.
Okay. So he brings in, puts his book.
Yep. And leaves. And then he may browse through the whole thing, just flip through some books, find something useful, take it and go. And it's meant for him to take it and go without any questions or answers.
Ah, okay. So he puts in one book and he picks another book.
No, not really. What has happened consistently is that he brings in 3 or 4 books and takes one.
So you guys are running out of space now because of this, right?
Yes, and books are heavy. Books are actually heavy. Books contain both weight and volume.
Right. Now let's talk about this. Incredible ideas needed to be taken into we just were discussing about origin of wealth and how poverty can be. Now, how about did you get any chance of emulating this in some kind of a rural environment? This might create interest, right? So I was talking to one of my friends who told that he's sitting in the United States, just wants to do one thing. He'll buy a small land, or even talk to the government sources, get a small land, wherein he'll construct a decent big hall in a rural area.
Okay.
And he would install a 60-inch, he mentioned to me about, there are LED TV, LCD TV, and then there is other one which I'm really not getting it, which heats up really crazy. So he mentioned about a 60-inch or 55-inch television, which he'll set up there.
Yep.
And he has got leads of some person who's giving some material for this young kids, okay? That all the TV would be doing is running 24/7. And then anybody who comes and sits there will learn something. It could be academics, it could be curriculum, it could be rhymes, it could be anything, So that was his idea.
Yeah.
So people are coming up with these kinds of ideas. So the reason behind his idea and the concept behind this idea is, if you take something he mentioned about challenges, people breaking the television, and then just nobody showing up, and the guy who's actually mentoring and monitoring that particular location where he has installed this television just goes for a tea and leaves it open. He mentioned about so many different things But for everything, he's coming up with some kind of a shield in order to protect this and then help the rural community. So a lot of these folks in U.S. talk about rural community helping his own hometown. So how about emulating this LFL in some kind of rural environment? Did you ever try that, or any of that leads in that?
No, I'm contemplating on this myself, and for me, a small place. My fiancée is from rural Visakhapatnam.
Uh-huh.
Rural Andhra Pradesh, Visakhapatnam, off about 100 kilometers away from Vizag city itself. So for me, the concept of keeping a book, keeping a little free library out there is appealing.
Okay.
And I'm also sure that there'll be more books taken out and then less books coming in, which is a good way for the little free library to work.
Okay.
The reverse of what happens in the urban. So when the reverse of what happens here happens in the rural, then it would be nice. It would actually be a very nice thing for the little free library. But we would also the need to replenish stocks would be large.
Right.
We will need to replenish stocks pretty often. And books are heavy. Books are heavy, so transportation is going to become an issue. It is one kind of a vision, and this little free library could, if it becomes too attractive, then maybe there's somebody who would take the whole shelf home, or the doors could be broken, or we don't know, but but it's worth giving it a shot. Worth replicating it. Worth doing one-off for whatever reason.
Yes.
I would actually I would again lift something from the Ugly Indian. The Ugly Indian, the moment the Ugly Indian does a spot fix, we are mentally prepared to see it returning to its original state the next day morning. But things don't happen even after a year. They're still beautiful after a year.
Right.
So if you go with that kind of mindset, let them destroy, let them break it, let them take it away. But let me do my initiation, and then I would have results to see for real.
Right. And with your permission, if any of our listeners listening out there to this show would want to get in touch with you, could we share the numbers and details as well?
Sure. My email ID is urgentley@gmail.com, and my telephone number would be +91 988 670 5452.
Let me repeat this for
Yours Lovingly. I have a website on which I put up some basic content. It's yourslovingly.in.
Yourslovingly.in. Okay.
Yep. So that's all I have for the moment, Srikant.
Okay, so let me just repeat for our folks out there who are listening to the show.
Sure.
So it would be urgently@gmail.com, which would be U as an umbrella, R as in Raphael, G as in Gary, E as in Eagle, N as in Nancy, T as Tom, L as in Larry, E as in Eagle, Y as in Yoke, urgently@gmail.com. And the cell phone number of Stanley Ravi is 988-6705-452. And also you could visit his website at yourslovingly.in, yourslovingly.in. And Ravi, pretty much we covered for 45 minutes. It's an interesting, very nice chat, and thank you very much for being with us. It's just few hours that I buzzed you, and then you were right spot on the show, and I really appreciate your time today.
I must thank you too, Sri, for after seeing your email and the kind of people you've interviewed and the kind of stuff that you guys are doing out there is heartwarming. I'm a loss for words. In spite of having been able to, being a big talker, speaking so much, when it comes to me saying something about you guys in turn, I'm at a loss for words.
Oh my God! Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you as well. Because in a world where initiatives are just people are running out of time, and very less initiatives, and I'm sure that people like you are showing up some kind of a path or a pattern or do something. That's the whole spirit of the conversation we're having today.
Yeah.
And thank you very much again, Ravi.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sri. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, friends, that was Stanley Ravi today with us. And as I mentioned, I've shared all the details of Stanley Ravi. You could reach out to him. He definitely have 5 more signboards, or even 6 if I'm wrong, maybe. So he's definitely having 2 more signboards. And if you want to emulate this idea of Little Free Library anywhere in your place, I think it's the right time to call or even email Ravi and then ask how this entire concept of Little Free Library works. And hopefully we brought in some interesting information about how this Little Free Library works in Bangalore. And also, just to give you a little bit of an idea, and even before we wrap up, Little Free Library is located on Brigade Road, Brigade Cross Road between Brigade and MG Road, and is perhaps the first ever such endeavour in the country. It sounds interesting. When I read about Stanley Ravi, his work and his initiative, and he emulated what's happening in the Western world, sounds interesting. And then you could definitely, when you visit Bangalore, and also when you're very much close to Brigade Road, it's worth your time going and then watching this Little Free Library. So LSL is nothing but a small bookcase, as we mentioned, and it will remain there for 24/7. So anytime you drop in, just go ahead and then take a look at it. And also, once again, I want to share Stanley Ravi's information for you guys. It is urgently, urgently@gmail.com. And also his phone number is +91 if you're in the United States, just making sure that you get this right. +91, and his mobile number is 9886705-452. 9886705-452. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in today, and do visit our website, nrisamay.com. You could like us on facebook.com/nrisamay. Also, you could spread the message, tell your friends about NRI Samay, and any incredible person similar to guys who are taking initiatives like Stanley Ravi, you please share that information and messages on Facebook. You can also write to us at nrisamay@gmail.com. You can visit to our archives, listen to our archives at youtube.com/nrisamay. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant weekend ahead. Listen to this wonderful music, friends. Thank you.